Well, well, well. Welcome back, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here again on the channel. Hope everybody's doing well. Well, I have some questions, guys, that I think would be very, very helpful in determining the type of relationship that you may be involved in now or thinking about being involved in. And it may spare a lot of you a lot of pain in the future. Now, a lot of these answers you're going to be shocked by probably. You go through a relationship process and you think, well, the person's not that bad, or, they'll come around or they'll change, or, you don't see the signs of the person being a severe narcissist right off the bat. As you know, they wear a mask. But as time goes on, you'll see subtle things, or you'll be aware of subtle things that just don't add up with a healthy relationship. And that's when you ask yourself these questions, okay? Now, first of all, question number one to ask yourself is, do they put God first in their life? Now, many times the narcissist will put on their mask, of course, for several months, sometimes years, and act like they're the church-going, God-loving person. They'll say, oh, God's working in mysterious ways. They'll have all these quotes, to make you think that they're a good Christian and they put God first. But do they really? I mean, if you watch their actions, are they putting the Bible first in their life? In other words, the 10 Commandments, are they applying those? Are they doing God's will on this earth, or their own will? Putting God first means you put his commandments first. If the narcissist isn't doing that, regardless if they're standing in church or if they're joining church groups or quoting Bible quotes, that doesn't mean anything. It's the actions that speak louder than what they say, as you know. So do their actions tell you that they're putting the Lord and God's commandments first? The Word of God, the Bible, what's in the Bible? Are they implementing that in their daily lives? If the answer is no, that's not a good answer, guys. Another question to ask yourself is, do you like them? Do you like who they are? Do you actually like them as a friend? If the answer is no, I don't really like them. I love them, but I don't like them. That's not a good answer, guys. The person you're with should be your friend, right? They should be somebody that you can honestly say is your friend, right? But yet so many people who get involved with severe malignant narcissists can't say that. They look at the person and say, I love them, but I don't like them much. I don't know if that makes for a great long-term relationship or any relationship, right? So think about that one. Doesn't make sense to have somebody with you that's not your friend. Also, ask yourself this question, guys. Do they protect you or do they hurt you? If they're not protecting you against harm, and if they're the ones causing you harm, there's your answer, guys. Yet so many targets ignore this. They ignore this. They'll make excuses as to why the narcissist is not protective of them and why the narcissist is hurting them physically, mentally, spiritually, everything. So really ask yourself, if they're not protecting you, somebody in your life should be protective of you and your health and your mental health and your physical health and your spirituality. And if they're not a good sign, guys. Also, here's another question. Do they mirror your values? Somebody who's with you should be a reflection of who you are and your values. Do you share the same core values in life? Do you want the same things? If they don't, that's not good. If you can't say, yes, they are a good representation of who I am as far as values go, that doesn't sound like a great match, guys. Another question to ask yourself is, can you honestly say they're a good person? Now, this is a basic question. Are they a good person? You want to be with a partner that you can honestly say is a good person. Yet how many of you out there, and you know who you are, put in the comments below, can say that the person they're with is really not a good person, but indeed a diabolical, manipulative, dishonest, and, a person that is not a very good soul. Yet you stay with them. Why? Now, I'm not judging anybody. We've all been there. We've all made mistakes. And many of us didn't ask ourselves these questions, right? These are very important. So please copy them. Like I said, I'll have them under the video, and take note of them. Also, a question here is, can you say that the person you're with is an honorable person? Do people look at them like they're an honorable person. Now we know the narcissist wears the masks, and sometimes the flying monkeys and people in the community think they're an honorable person and brag about how honorable they are, but they aren't behind closed doors. So I guess the question is, with you, behind closed doors and in the private life, are they honoring you as a person, and are they an honorable person with you alone and not just in public? And here's another one, guys. Can you trust them? Now, it's a simple question, right? But when you really think about it, I'm sure a lot of the answers you'd give here in the comments are no, I can't trust them for anything. Well, why? Usually it's because they've done something to break that trust, right? You just don't, automatically not trust somebody. You give them a little bit of the benefit of the doubt, but, it's not healthy to trust right off the bat. Trust is earned, guys. Somebody has to show you that they're transparent, they're trustworthy, and they have to honor the trust between the two of you. And if they don't, if they're breaking it time and time again, why would you trust them? And a lot of you would answer this question as, no, I can't. You're married to them, you've been in long-term relationships with them, but you don't trust them. And trust is a huge thing in a relationship. And if that trust is broken, you have every right to have your antenna up. You have every right to have doubts and to doubt the relationship as well. But yet so many people stay when the answer is no to this question. Can you trust them? They'll say, no, absolutely not. I don't. Now, the narcissist will turn it around on you and say, you're paranoid, you're crazy, you just don't trust people. Nah, it's not because of that, guys. Usually you have a very good reason for the lack of trust. The narcissist has broken that trust, probably time and time again, but they expect you, like I said before in many videos, they expect you to have amnesia and just trust them again automatically. And again, trust is earned. Unless they have done things to earn that trust back, meaning they've been completely transparent, they're answering their texts when you text them right away, they're answering calls, they're telling you where they're at, whatever it is they have to do to earn your trust back. Unless they're doing all those things, which usually they're incapable of. I haven't heard of that working at all. You can't trust them. So that's a huge thing with a relationship, guys. Another question is, are you a priority in their life after God? Think about it. Do they make you a priority, guys? Do they, put you before their friends or their siblings or the football game or some event or going out with girlfriends if it's a female narcissist? Are you a priority? Do they actually act interested in making you a priority? If you answered no, that's not a good sign as well. Another thing to ask yourself to avoid pain is, how do they treat waiters, and how do they treat service people or people that are maybe in a position that is not as high as their career position? Do they look down on them? Do they treat them different? How about different races? Are they a racist? All those things, don't really speak of a good person. So you really want to pay attention to see how they treat others, and not just out in the community where they're on their best behavior and they're treating people well and putting on this show, but in the past, how did they treat others? Do they have a history of treating people bad? Do they have a history of, like I said, relationships and partners running and screaming in terror to escape them? If you find that out, that's not a good sign. That means they did not treat people well and they caused harm to them. Another question to ask yourself is, do they follow through with their promises? Do they follow through? Do they keep their word? If they're always breaking their word, if they never follow through in what they say, what makes you think they're going to follow through with anything they promise? Or even their vows, fidelity, anything they won't follow through with if they can't keep a promise, right? If they don't call when they say they're going to call, if they don't show up when they're going to show up, if they don't come through with what they said, then it's just talk. It's not who they are. It's just what they're trying to say to win you over. But they have no intention of doing it. Doesn't mean anything. Actions speak louder than words, so always remember that. Do they keep their promises, yes or no? Also, another one is, are they transparent with their whereabouts? If they're never telling you where they are, if it's a long-term relationship and they just don't give any information, they're not transparent at all, it sends mixed signals. In one sense, you're very close, you're married, husband and wife, or you're been together for years and say dating, not married, but together several years. And then they devalue you by just taking off and not giving you any information at all as to their whereabouts or what they're doing. And it's very unsettling for the target. They're getting mixed signals: close relationship or acquaintance, close relationship, acquaintance, marriage, or did we go back to one just dating again? I mean, very confusing for the targets. And they do this, the narcissist does this intentionally to confuse. Also, do they hide their phone? Now, this is a huge one, guys. Targets know that these severe malignant narcissists will always keep their phone with them. They won't have it leave their sight. They bring it in the bathroom with them. They take it out. And if they ever leave it anywhere and you pick it up, boy, they will practically break your arm to get it back. I've even heard of cases where the narcissist strong-armed the petite woman that they were with, causing bruises and bodily injury just to try to get their phone back. Well, why? If there's nothing to hide, why did they get so upset? Why do they keep it glued to them all the time? It's because there's damaging things on there, guys. They're hiding something. So if they are not transparent with their phone, it doesn't mean that you need the passcode and everything else, but just that they're not afraid of what's going to pop up in a text, or if somebody calls, they can honestly show you on the phone who it is, and not just take the phone outside, or have conversations on the phone, walking the dog only outside so you're not there. Their conversations are pretty transparent, and they're pretty forthright with the information they give as to who called and what it was about, if you asked. If they're not doing that, then not a good sign. Another sign here is, are they accessible to you? Or everything is vague and ambiguous about their work. You really don't know what they do for their job, and they're hard to access, or they're not answering their phone. Their phone is constantly off, or they're unavailable. Also, here's another big question. Do you feel comfortable around them? If you don't feel comfortable, if your hair is standing on end, guys, that's the Holy Spirit's warning, warning, warning. If you have that EGBG feeling that something is wrong deep in your gut, again, that is the Holy Spirit's discernment. And if you're not comfortable around them, if you're waiting for their mood to fly off the handle or the demon face to come out of them, time to go. You shouldn't feel like that. Or if you're always asking yourself, what did I do? What did I do? If they're always looking at you like you did something wrong and you're walking on eggs, that's not a good sign, guys. You have to be comfortable, relaxed. The Lord is about peace. You have a sense of peace with somebody that is of God. If you don't have that peace and you're uncomfortable, really, along with all these other questions, pay attention to the answers to these that you're giving for all these questions, and the comfort level that you feel. Again, that's the Holy Spirit's discernment if you're not comfortable. Another question, can you be yourself? Do they accept you for who you are, or do they want to change you, guys? If they're always trying to Svengali you, to wear certain clothes, they want you to look good and whatever. But if they want to change who you are as a person, and what you like and what you don't like, and everything about you, your appearance, and what you do and what you don't do, if they're always teaching you what to say, what not to say, if they're editing your language and your behavior, and you feel like you can't be yourself, then that's not a good sign, guys. Also, do they respect your boundaries? Another big one. Look at all these questions that really make sense, and I bet a lot of you can't answer these well, right? Let me know what you think in the comments. If you've answered a lot of these to no, let me know, because we're all guilty of ignoring these questions, the answers to these questions anyway. They tell a lot, guys, don't they? They tell a lot, but we ignore them. We want to make excuses for the narcissist. So that's why I'm going to post these below the video. And again, let me know what you think about these, and if you've asked yourself these, and if you think these will be helpful to you, put it in the comments. This one here that I mentioned, do they respect your boundaries? Huge one. If they're always breaking your boundaries, if they don't care what your boundaries are, if they're just thinking of themselves and not you and why you have those boundaries, bye. That's a huge red flag. They will break more and more boundaries, and if you allow it, they will just do worse. They'll break a bigger boundary. So that means they just don't respect anything about your boundaries, and they mean nothing to them. That's not a good sign. Another question here is, can they communicate deeply with you? Are they willing to? They really communicate with people differently. There's flying monkeys, they're going to be on best behavior, and people that are total strangers, they're going to treat very well and communicate with them very well. And people are going to think they're a great person. But, behind closed doors with you, do they communicate intimately with you, deeply with you? Are they able to have a conversation, or do they just roll their eyeballs, look out the window, and, avert the conversation to something else and do the word salad bit where they talk about roundabout stuff, and next thing you know, the focus is on you, and they're not having the conversation you had hoped for. Narcissists are notorious for that. So can they communicate and resolve an issue? Probably not. But be honest with yourself about that. Another question here, do they listen well to you? Most narcissists don't. They're like, can I go now? Look on their face. Their eyeballs are rolling. They're totally uncomfortable when you ask them a question. Or you're telling them about something. They see it as unimportant. They just want to get to what they want to do or what they want to talk about. And if it has to do with you or somebody else, they don't care. So if they're not a good listener, that's not a good sign, guys. Another one here, and believe me, this is going to be a little longer video because of these questions here, but they're important. Do they accept who you are without trying to change you? Do they accept who you are? Do you feel like, well, they want me to be this way, or they want me to like that, or they want me to wear this certain outfit, or they want me to cut my hair, or they want me to change my look, or they want me to look like, the girl in the video or whatever. And if it's a guy, if the woman's always telling you to get a different car, move a different place, get a new job, why don't you look like this? Why don't you, do that? It's very unsettling. You feel like you can't be yourself. They should be able to accept you and who you are unconditionally. And if they don't, that's not a good answer for that question here. Also, do they show non-sexual affection and appreciation, or is it just sexual to you? I mean, can they just give you a hug and say, honey, I love you? Or, be close when it's non-sexual, be intimate in a way that's non-sexual all the time? Like it's just more about caring about you rather than something physical. Really think about that one. You may be surprised at the answer. Also, do they fight fair? Another question. Or do they hit below the belt? We know severe malignant narcissists hit below the belt. That's when the demon comes out of them, right? They can hit below the belt like no other. It's like one of those old Jerry Springer shows, where they come out swinging with the trashy talk and the below the belt, really horrible text messages and things that they say. They hit way below the belt, and you really wonder how the heck you got involved with that type of person. If they don't fight fair, if they fight evil like that, meaning if they fight demonically in a fight, the horrible text messages, the insults, hitting below the belt, really going for the jugular, knowing what's going to affect you, things that you're sensitive to, insulting body parts or anything, your education, income, family, your children, sometimes they insult. Nothing is off limits to a narcissist when they fight because, they want a reaction from you. They want you to give them that narcissistic supply of a good fight. They don't care if it's, bad supply or good supply, meaning positive or negative input. They don't care. They just need attention, whether it's a fight or whether it's adoration. So ask yourself, do they fight fair? If the answer is no, then that's not good, especially for long term. Do you feel respected? Well, you know what your answer is on that. If they're doing all of these things that I'm asking you in these questions, chances are no, they're not making you feel respected, and that is huge. You should feel respected and loved by your partner. If that's not happening, along with all of these other things, not a good sign. Another one is, do you respect them? Again, this comes into the same question as, do you like them? Easy question. You should say yes. They're the best person I ever knew in my life. That's why I married them, or that's why I'm with them. But if you can't say you like them, and with this question, you can't respect them, what are you doing with them? Really, think about it. Another question is, how do they cope with stress? Their emotions change on a dime. That's why a lot of people think they're bipolar or they're misdiagnosed as bipolar. Because, 1 minute they're acting what you think is okay or normal or pleasantly, and the next minute they turn into a demon. It's the devil themselves. And they're going for you. They're attacking you, insulting you, starting a fight with you. They're punishing you. Because sometimes it's because of stress. It's just because, you're around. You're the person closest to them. And they feel that they can demean and abuse you, to control you, to make you fear them. We know the adversary loves fear, causing fear and anxiety, and that's what the narcissist does. So, do they cope with stress well, or do they punish you and give you a sense of anxiety and fear when they're under stress? Another question to ask yourself is, would you encourage others to have a similar relationship to yours with this person? Meaning, would you encourage others to have a similar relationship to the one you're in now? If the answer is no, like, no, I wouldn't wish what I'm going through on other people, that's not a good sign to continue that relationship, guys, right? Also, here's the last one here. Do you feel safe around them, guys? Now, if you've answered no to a lot of these questions, how can you feel safe around them, right? They're not respecting you. They're not able to be transparent with you. You can't trust them. You can't feel safe if you can't trust somebody. And the big misconception, guys, is that a lot of men especially feel that women want security that means money, right? Now, women, out there, yes, if you have children, family, married, you want a man who is able to, work and contribute, etc. However, security to a woman does not necessarily mean money. It means safety. It means feeling safe. Now, of course, if you're homeless and everything, you don't feel safe, right? But also, if you're being, lied to, you can't trust the person. They've broken your boundaries. They're devaluing you. They're doing all of these things that the narcissist does. They're not respecting you. They're not validating you. Believe me, how can you feel safe? There's no security. So yes, women look for security. They do, but it doesn't necessarily mean a rich man or person. It means they want safety. They want to know that they're protected. They want to know they're safe. They want to know they're loved and respected, validated and listened to. Simple as that. So let me know what you think, guys. Let me know if these questions made sense to you and what your answers were. And if you think these are good questions to ask when you get involved with somebody, or if you're involved with somebody, or if you're married to somebody, whether these are good questions to ask and whether they make sense to you. Also, let me know in the comments if you need prayer. I know a lot of you have been asking for more prayer videos, and I hope to get those out soon. And if you need one-on-one Christian guidance, please email me at angelhavenministry@gmail.com, and I'll be sure to get back to you on how to do that. So thanks so much, guys, for listening. Sorry this was a long video, but those questions were kind of lengthy, right? But they're good questions to ask, and boy, I wish a lot of us had asked these questions earlier, don't you? So thanks so much, guys. Know I'm praying for all of you. Make sure you follow on Facebook, X, Rumble, and Quora, and I'll see you soon. God bless.